Hey guys, Captain Walnut here on my King of the Hill map, and I'm here to start a new series, map making. Um, so I want to update and finish this map and release it to you guys fairly soon, but I'm having a lot of trouble with certain aspects of it, and I wanted your guys' assistance on it, and maybe, I figured I'd motivate myself a little bit more by making videos about it. So, I've already given a tour of this map, so check my map making season 1, I guess, playlist. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but it'll be something like that. And I'll put the video in which I explained this map to you guys in there. Um, and so basically I'm going to go through here and update various aspects of this. Now, if you caught the stream that Graloth and I did yesterday, you'll have seen that we did some stuff. Mostly tested the TNT cannons and tried to get some alternative to some of the cannons working. And I'm going to go over some of that now and then do a little bit more than that. So let's jump right into it. Well, these two cannons here work just fine. The ones pointed back here at spawn or at the hill. So obviously, if you cap the hill, it'd be really nice since your red team spawns over there or something. It'd be really nice if they could come through here, just run up and start shooting at the hill with the cannon to try to get the people off of it. However, even if you knock everyone off the hill, the timer is still going to keep ticking until the other team captures. So if blue team has captured the hill, red teams need to come through and cap it in order to take the time away. So that means that no one from any team needs to stay on the hill in order to keep the timer going. So we can test out the cannon. 2, 3, 4. You can see that wasn't I didn't time it that well, but you could see that it was in line to blow up on the hill. Now the hill is spawn protected because spawn is set to right up there. So the hill is spawn protected, so that takes care of anyone building things on the hill that they shouldn't. The only problem with that, the spawn protection goes out to about here-ish on all 4 sides. So that sort of prevents you from fixing this bridge if it gets busted. So I'm going to make sure to build these out of fairly blast-resistant blocks. But I'm not too concerned about that because you could build over from slightly higher up and then jump there or anything like that to get to the hill. What else? The corner cannons work really well. Let me show that. We do have to overcharge them though, which is unfortunate. So this one right there is the thing that'll get shot. These 2 are for overloading, and then we put 5 more in the back. Okay, and then we set it off. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see it fires out and landed on the hill. Perfect. The other one does the same thing. It lands on the hill just fine. Now, another important aspect of this map is the brewing aspect of this thing. And all the brewing supplies are in these 2 respective towers, here and here, for each team. There'll be brewing stands. In the chest is a bunch of nether wart. There's no way to get blaze rods. There's no way to get soul sand, so you couldn't grow more nether wart. So if these things disappear, then the other team, can't do any brewing. And brewing would be really nice. Do like splash potions of harming or anything like that. There's a large supply of mushrooms back there, and you can easily get spider eyes from these guys, even though they're poisonous, or from, other sources that I'll put around the map. And then there's sugar cane all over the place, so you can make fermented spider eyes to make splash potions of harming. And that could be like grenades that you could use on the hill a whole bunch, or, regeneration, or anything that might be necessary to do this. So the problem is that these cannons on each side that are supposed to shoot across to destroy this are totally unreliable. They can't do anything at all. So I'm thinking instead is I'm going to use command blocks to drop TNT down from the roof above. Pretty much like so. Let's see, do I already have redstone on top of this one? No, I don't. Okay, good. So the whole idea would be, I don't know exactly where the middle is. Let's say this is the middle. Does that look like the middle? Ah, that was a good guess. Alright. So let's say that's the middle. And then we put 4 TNT blocks around it. Just use glass to mark the middle. These would all get spawned in there by a command block from a button on the, on the other side. And then they get lit and drop down and destroy everything that has to do with burrowing for this team. And also opens up the spider spawner for spiders to come out. And the nice thing about this is that since this is bedrock above here, they'll still be able to spawn and come out of there. I think. Block light is 6, 7, 8, 5, 3. Yeah, see, block light in here is very low. 1, 0. If you check over here, you can see how low the block light is. So yeah, so that's one idea for the command blocks. Now, we sort of started implementing that over here, and you want to be able to make it so that the other team can disable the effect. So let's show that off right now. Let me get a command block. Give Captain Walnut item 137, which is command block, and then let's get out some glowstone. And a button. And repeater, comparator. Well, we can get the rest of it later. So a button would be right there to turn on the command block, and you can see it comes through from back there, so we need to put a repeater there, obviously. Okay. And then when you put the bedrock back, we want bedrock behind the glowstone so that if the glowstone gets destroyed, the people can't escape the map. And then what we want to do is, I believe we want a piece of redstone, correct? Let's get out a piece of redstone, and then let's put down the command block, and then let's get out this here, redstone torch, redstone torch. Awesome. Okay, and then we want TNT here, here, and here. So now what that'll do is this command block, I'm not going to program it right now, but this command block would set up that TNT over on that bedrock circle above the other brewing tower, just like I showed you before. And once it did that, also this torch would trigger. Once you press that button, it's going to go through and trigger this command block. They are blast proof, they won't blow up. So this piece of TNT will get triggered by this torch, which would break this piece of redstone, so you could not trigger that multiple times. The other nice thing about it is since TNT can explode through corners, see there's a piece of TNT right there, we'll give the other team a very low durability flame bow. I'm actually thinking about supplying it in the base of this tower and the other tower. So they could do is they could get the low durability flame bow, and then maybe they could come over here and shoot this piece of TNT or anything else around there. They might be able to come over somewhere else and shoot the piece of TNT. I might not put it in there. I might put another one maybe like in that chest or a chest on top of the mountain. I haven't figured it out yet. But anyway, if you shoot that piece of TNT, since TNT explodes through corners, you see there's no way for people to get through here. But if I shouldn't have gotten rid of all the glowstone. But if I put this back here, put this piece of TNT back, and I'm going to put the a layer of bedrock there too, just to show that it's not getting through that side. If I ignite this piece of TNT, say with a flame bow, or in this case flint and steel, when that goes off, it's going to trigger this next piece of TNT. See that? Explodes the last piece of TNT. And now the redstone's gone, and so even if they put a button back on this thing, they won't be able to get at it. The other nice thing about that is the glowstone, no matter what, is going to be gone. So if I put the glowstone back here, and then if I put the repeater, give me a second, let me set back up the redstone. Okay, so even if you broke, the other team came over here to press this button to cause the TNT to fall. If they broke this piece of TNT, remember they can't get back there. Even when they press that, the redstone went through and triggered this block, but it also triggered the TNT, so it sets that off, and it also destroys the glowstone on this side. So it's an indication of whether it's been used or not, whether it can be used. You can see glowstone from a really far distance away, so if the glowstone's missing from there, you know that it's gone. Now the other nice thing about this is it will be used as a hidey hole. I know that, to shoot things. That can't be avoided. It could be used to hide from people shooting down at you from this mountain. But it's pretty hard to shoot the hill from here accurately because you have to move forward in order to see. Could maybe, even if you stand on a block, yeah. It's still pretty hard to see. So, yeah, that's something that's a little OP. I might need to figure something else about that. Anyway, on to the next thing. Something else I want is for each team to have their own source of gunpowder. Now, I put this source of gunpowder way back in their spawn, so that it's kind of far away from all the cannons. It takes a little bit to get out there. So even though you do have an infinite source of TNT, it slows down the pace of the game a little bit because you have to travel back and forth between the source of gunpowder and maybe your brewing facility, or unless you pick it up and carry it back here, and your cannons, and stuff like that. The other thing is it is spawner activated. I would do something where there's a little bit of a radius so that if you walk away, the creepers stop spawning and you need to come back in order to make it happen. Now, one thing that would be nice actually is even though this big huge plot of sand here is 11 blocks deep of just sand, and there is a fairly large desert out here, you know, there's two fairly large deserts that's fairly deep too, so you can get plenty of sand from that. Graloth pointed out to me that it might be better to, in terms of game pace, if they didn't have to craft the TNT, if they were just supplied with TNT from the source. And I thought it would actually be pretty cool if the creepers themselves gave you the TNT as well as some gunpowder. So I've been messing with that. Over here I have some command blocks set up. Here I have a summon item command. These tildes mean relative. And this is X, Y, Z, so the -2 means below. And then this says in the same position as the spawner. And then the item, ID is 46, you can see that here. That means it's TNT, and I want one of them. And then I'm going to make it ride a creeper. So I'm done, and I'm going to press the button, and you'll see a creeper gets spawned. And you can't really see it that easily, but there is TNT that sort of pokes out of his head every now and again. And you can see the TNT moves with the creeper wherever the creeper goes. So if I kill this creeper, see the TNT drops, and I can pick it up, which is awesome. The other cool thing about this is if I spawn it, I can actually walk right up to the creeper and pick up the TNT off of his head, which is kind of cool if you're willing to walk right up to a creeper. Now that's no big deal for these guys, since these creepers are dying right off the bat. They're not walking around back in there unless the glass gets broken, which would be a pretty serious hit by the enemy team if they manage to fight their way all the way through this mountain and back to the spawn and break the glass and blow this area up so that the creepers are constantly coming out of here. That would mean the other team would have to go down there and just disable their spawners, which would not be very nice. I might put a switch on the wall or something to enable or disable those spawners in case that happens, so the other team doesn't have to deal with that. Now the other thing is that I know there's tons of tools out there to create spawners, but I want to do this all vanilla. I don't want to have to download mods or anything to make this happen. And I know I could get into MC Edit, but I'm just trying to make this work this way right now, so I don't have to keep switching back and forth for MC Edit. So I have something here. This is just something for me to try. I need to change this back. Just need to say creeper. Yes. Alright, so here I'm doing a set block, one block below the command block. Minecraft mob spawner. So in 1.7 they're no longer going to support numbers. I'm going to use words, so I'm using Minecraft mob spawner in order to replace it. I'm saying replace whatever block is below it, and then the entity ID that will be inside the spawner is a creeper. I want the delay to be 0, and that's all I've really tried so far with that. So if I do that, you'll see there's a creeper there. And if I set it to night, so it gets dark around here, this thing should behave like a normal spawner. There we go. See the creepers spawn. So these are just like the spawners I have down below there right now. I have a whole ton of spawners down there right now. Actually, let's go down there and check that out. I hope you guys can see. Let me set up a torch so you can see. There we go. Torch set up so all the creepers, you can see all these creeper cages because I want there to be a pretty good supply of gunpowder for the players. Now, so there's that. What I want to happen is I want to be able to create the a spawner that spawns creepers, but the creepers have TNT riding on their heads. And that's what I've been messing about with this third command block, and I have not quite got it working yet. I don't really understand the logic for how spawners work yet, so I'm still trying to learn that. Pretty much what I tried to do is for this entity ID here, where I say what should the spawner spawn, I put what I had from the first command block in there, and it doesn't work. You can see there's an empty cage, even if I set it to night. Oops. There we go. Even if I set it to night, it still doesn't work. Thinking I might need to set up the spawn radius and the minimum and maximum delay and all of that stuff in order to get this thing working. That was from that spawner. Let's delete that one so it doesn't confuse us. See, he did not drop TNT. But yeah. So this does not work. It's just an empty spawner, which is what always happens if you have a mob spawner with some sort of errored entity ID, like something that has an error in it. So, oh well. Sad it doesn't work, but I'll get it figured out eventually. On to the next thing. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to happen was have items flowing through this water stream. And before, I had an obscenely large watermelon farm back here that kind of lagged the game. It was as wide as this map is, which is pretty big. And there was, you know, a couple thousand watermelon plants back there with pistons to push them off and then to go through that little ice stream down there over to the stream that came out from under the Redstone Mountains. Comes out from underneath this cannon here. And I figure, you know what, we can do the exact same thing with command blocks. I want it to be silent, so at first I tried to do a hopper timer clock without any pistons. This is my first attempt at it. It works. It's on a relatively long delay, which might be okay. You can see it switched over to this one. And after a short delay, it should switch back. There we go. And that delay, it might actually be okay with this. And it's pretty easy to make it longer. You can just change the length of this wire here or the type of item that's in there. The other thing you could do is this right here, which is what I've got going on here. So the first thing it does is it makes sure there's a player on the map. Because if this timer is always going, since it's near spawn chunks, this redstone will always be loaded even when there's no player logged in. So I first have to check if there's a player on the map, radius of 500, that's plenty to cover this entire map here. And then I have it go through a comparator set to minus mode, so it's always checking before it spawns. So one thing it does is it spawns an XP orb with a value of 3 XP, which is, you know, a little bit less than what a zombie gives you. And then I also summon item 349, which if we look over here, it's cooked fish, raw fish, you can see that raw fish is item 0349 /0. So the damage value on that would be 0. There we go. If I change that damage value to something else, it would give me another type of fish. What's that? That would be raw salmon. So you can see down here, I've got raw fish and XP orbs spawning, and soon we should start to see salmon come through. There we go. There's raw salmon coming through. So the whole idea behind that is, let me go up and change that back to raw fish. I like the raw fish because it doesn't actually give you that much food. The idea behind this is that this is sort of like an emergency stream. This is sort of a stream of mana. And this has been blown up a little bit because I was testing the TNT cannons and everything. This is just a test world. It's not the final world, don't worry. I'll move everything once I figure it out over into the final world. So the XP is just looks like it's glitching out. It's not actually up there. It's down in the water. But you could jump into the stream at any time And let me clear my inventory, go to game mode 0. Oh wow, I'm level 56. How do I get rid of my XP? I don't remember how to get rid of my XP. There's a quick and easy way to do it. Whee! Map looks kind of cool from down there. Alright, so we have to go back to game mode 1, and go over to the stream. Gotta make sure we're going to the right one. Yeah, this one over here. Okay, so if I go back to game mode 0, 0, I could hop into the stream at any point. You know, if I'm running around and I have no food in my inventory, nothing like that, let me go to a 2-block high space and get my hunger. Well, first off, if I jump in here, you can see I can pick up fish fairly quickly and easily, and the XP orbs give me a little bit of XP, but not that much. So this would be like in a pinch. I could get a little bit of XP here. Now I can jump back out, and I could run over to that tower and put a level 1 enchant on like a sword or a piece of armor or something like that. And then if I jump up and down in a 2-block high area, I'm going to lose hunger fairly quickly. So let's do that. I'll be back with you when I've lost a little bit of hunger. Okay, so now my hunger's down a little bit. And if I eat a piece of this raw fish, see, I only get 1 haunch back. So that's the whole idea, is it's supposed to be food in a pinch. It's not supposed to be a really good supply of food. It's supposed to be kind of a crappy supply of food. You could cook this if you wanted to. That would mean making charcoal or using coal from down there, which would be fine. You could definitely do that if you felt the need to. But yeah, so that's the idea behind the stream, is you could be really far away from any of the farms in the middle of a battle and need to get some food real quick, and you could just run over there and jump into that stream. Also, I expect, since that's a low down area, a lot of battles might happen in there, because players might jump down there to get some experience or some food, and then an enemy player might stand up on the stream bank and start shooting them with a bow. But as we all know, if you're using a sword, it's actually better to be lower because you can hit their feet, whereas they need to get closer to you in order to hit you. So it provided for some interesting battles. It would be a little bit harder because you'd have to fight against the water currents in order to get back up to the enemy that you're fighting with, or you'd have to navigate your way out of the canyon, you know. So yeah. Oop, I forgot I was in game mode. 0. Alright. I forgot I was in survival. So if we go back to creative, and we go in here, the other thing that I've been working on is, I don't think this is the right tower, is it? No, it is not. The other thing I've been working on is trying to make a bow up here. But actually, I'm not going to show that right now because it's nowhere near ready. What else can we do? So, the biggest thing that I need to work on is right here. Is the hill. The hill is by far the most important thing on the map that we need to get working perfectly. So I'm just going to open it up here. Now, you might be able to see, here we go, just below, 1 block down from the middle, there are 4, you can see them up there kind of, there are 4 command blocks. Each one has the exact same command. Test for player within a radius of 6. That's because here's the 4 middle blocks, and then if we go 6 out from there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you can see I am on the hill. If I go beyond that, I'm not on the hill. Same thing over here. It's not exactly perfect because this hill's a little oblong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm still on the hill. So pretty much anywhere you're on the bedrock, you'll be on the hill. Same thing with the bridges. These guys actually do a circle. do. If I stand here, I'm on the hill. If I stand here, I'm on the hill. But if I stand here, excuse me, I am not on the hill. So that's a pretty nice feature, is that using those 4 command blocks like that gets the entire hill area. Now, something else we need to do is check for the teams, and I already know how to do that. But then you need a clock going on. So here we have a clock that just runs infinitely, and it cycles this one and this corner over here. So these, all 4 of them are constantly resetting to check again and again and again. Every, as quick as, it doesn't need to be super quick, but it needs to be fairly quick. And then what happens is we have an output from each of these guys going into a bedrock block, which goes down to here, which then gets picked up by a repeater, which then goes over to these command blocks. And these command blocks are going to be in charge of the time. So if it's a red team, that's capped the hill, then it's going to be a red. There's a whole lot of logic I need to figure out here. I'll probably have this entire column full of command blocks in order to get the logic figured out. But basically what's going to happen is if two players from opposite teams are on here, no one can cap the hill. You have to be on here all by yourself to cap the hill, and you have to be on here for a certain period of time. Maybe, 5 seconds. And it would sort of make a tick-tock sound to you if you're on the hill. And it's ticking away for 5 seconds. And it has to be 5 complete seconds of uncontested time. So if you're at 5, 4, 3, 2, and then someone walks on the hill from the other team, then that timer will reset, and you'll need to fight them and get rid of them and then wait another 5 seconds in order to cap the hill. Now, as soon as you've capped the hill, they have to wait 5 seconds to cap the hill to get it out of your control before it goes back into their control. And during that time, if you're on the hill, that clock can't start for them. Once you've capped the hill, your team's color will appear in fireworks. So a bunch of fireworks will fly up, and if you're a red team, a bunch of red fireworks will explode above the hill. If you're a blue team, a bunch of blue fireworks will explode above the hill. Yeah. And then these timers are going to be gone. You can see I've already removed most of the guts of them. And then on the sidebar, pointed with my finger, on the sidebar over here will be a timer for blue and for red that will say how much time is left. And it'll be just continuous. It'll be, each team will start with 7 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something like that. And when the hill starts ticking down from 7 minutes, if I'm blue team and I cap the hill, my team's timer will start counting down. Now if red team caps the hill, my timer won't reset. It'll stop at wherever it was. So if I had it for maybe 30 seconds, then I'll have 6 minutes and 30 seconds left. And then once I cap it back, it'll keep counting down from there. So it can actually get pretty hectic if both teams down to 10 seconds. It keeps going back and forth where each team only caps it for 1 second or half a second. Then that could last a long time. But yeah. So it'd be pretty interesting if you're both at 1 second and then someone caps the hill, then that team would win. The first team to go down to 0 wins. What else? The clock, like I've said before, the clock doesn't start for either team until the hill gets capped in the first place. So the game could actually run fairly long, where no one from each team runs to the middle, and they want to collect iron, down below, and diamonds, and get all enchanted up and get brewed up and have their cannons all ready to go. Maybe they'll have someone up here on the cannon to keep constantly shoot so that no one can cap the hill until that team's ready. That would be a pretty easy way to take care of it, is to have someone on one of these two cannons just constantly firing TNT down upon the hill so that no one could survive if they came here to cap the hill for longer than 5 seconds. For longer than the time it would take to cap the hill. So that would be one way to prevent someone from capping the hill until your team was ready to cap it. Yeah. So what else did I want to talk about? Let's get time 0, please. There we go. Yeah, so we talked about spawning in items, talked about that. Actually, I'm looking at the time right now, and I think that'll do it for this episode. There's a lot more programming I need to learn about these command blocks. I wish someone would make an API for this. Please, someone make an API. Oh my gosh. I gotta figure out the team mechanics up there. You select what team you're going to be on, and then once both teams are ready, it teleports you to your respective spawns and sets your team's spawn there. So that if you die, you just respawn there instead of respawning up there again. I'm thinking about making various game modes, where you can change the difficulty. Like you could select the hill cap time, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever. Also the length of time it takes to win, so 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. As well as the other things like death count. Do you have a certain number of lives? Maybe you only have 5 lives, and once you've gotten 5 lives, you join Team Spectator, which puts you up here, and it doesn't let you break any blocks, and you can walk around on the glass and look down at the battles going on below you, but you can't do anything else. Things like that I'm thinking about adding, but I want to get the basics working first. But yeah. Alright, well, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.